this video, we give an insight into sail design and manufacture and talk about our plans for our sail wardrobe for NV. And we were lucky enough to have 16 sails that came with our boat. We've got a laminate mainsail, a Dacron delivery main, which is a lot smaller, it only goes up to the third spreader. We've got 6 laminate jibs, like this. We've got a Dacron staysail, and a storm sail, and 6 Jenicas. Most of these sails are pretty old. In fact, we were told by one of our viewers recently that the red Jenica we have with the bull's head on dates from 1980. And it's from American sailor Bill Koch's 80-foot maxi Matador. So it's older than the boat. One of our first tasks when we bought NV was to drive down to Auckland and collect the 16 sails that came with the boat that the previous owner had been storing in his container. We loaded them onto a friend's trailer, thank you Antje, and drove them back to Apua, where I think half a dozen friends turned up with dinghies to help load them onto the boat. We don't want to take them all with us when we set sail again, as they're very big and heavy, and they took up most of the boat on the way up here from New Zealand. So we need to pick the best ones to take with us, and the rest we will store in the container. At the moment we've got 2 forestays, and we want to add a third one to go in between these 2. This is to give us a wider range of sail configurations and make it easier to manage double-handed. These 2 existing forestays have furlers on them. Our plan for this additional forestay is to use the racing tough luff that came with the boat. This is a one-piece plastic profile which is installed on the forestay. Sails slot into it in the same way that they do for furlers. However, this system doesn't allow for the sail to be furled, and instead it must be hoisted up and down after each use. Having these 3 forestays will allow us to keep the small Dacron staysail as well as 2 of the laminate jibs as part of our main sail wardrobe. So our first job is to go through all our jibs, checking their condition and size, and pick one full-size one to go on the outer stay, and another one which we'll have to cut to fit on this new shorter middle stay. We calculated the length of this third stay using Pythagoras. First, we measured the vertical and horizontal lengths from the bottom of the mast to the top and bottom of the inner and outer forestays. Approximating these lengths by 2 sides of a right-angled triangle, we can use Pythagoras to calculate the angles. We want the angle of this new stay to be the same, so that all the stays are as parallel as possible. Thanks to the conversations with our mast builder, we know that we want this third stay to attach to the mast close to the third spreader, because this is where the carbon is thicker. So this gives us the vertical distance from the mast base to the top of this middle forestay. With Pythagoras again, we can use this length and the angle to calculate the length of the stay and the length of the base, which is the length between the foot of the mast and the bottom of this forestay, where we'll have to make a new chain plate. If anyone's interested to see these calculations in more detail, I'll put them up on our Patreon site. So it's time to head to our local sailmaker, Marshall Sails, to do some measuring and maybe some cutting. For any sail-related jobs in Fiji, Alan Marshall is your man.
That piece is good, eh?
I didn't check. Oh. We imagine that this sail that we'll put on the new middle stay will see a lot of use. This is because it will be a good size to be managed double-handed, so we want to pick one that's in good condition. So we brought with us to Allen's what we think is one of our best jibs, so we can measure it and see how much we need to reduce it by to get it to fit on this new middle stay.
How much is it? The set, 25. Okay. Okay, set. I have my measure thing.
He's coming.
Hang on, I'll go and hold it for you. What do you got? 19,400. 19,400, okay. Yeah, it's not bad. No, is a nice material. Yeah. This is too big, might stay safe.
So 19,400 up there.
Yeah. I check my measurement because one I need
What you doing? What you doing?
approximately how much.
That's not for you. We measured the luff of this sail to be 19.4, but as we saw before, we calculated the length of the forestay to be 19.13, so we'll definitely have to cut some.
No, I have to use it.
How long is it? How long is it?
I can put one button on the top. Cut this one. No, it's so nice. I can cut. Why do it? It's too much job. It's a nice sail.
A meter in this is a lot.
In the end, we decided it was best to take off a meter to be sure that there will be enough space when taking into account the halyard, the bottom of the tough luff, and when the sail's pulled tight. We're interrupting this video to say a great big thank you to our very first Patreons.
Okay, thank you to Paolo, Italian, living in London, have the passion of the sailing with the dinghy. Very thank you. And Federico from Italy, is also him, come from my Italian sailing school, Vela Mare. One big thank you to him. E also...
Thank you very much to Benny from Denmark, and a big thank you to Ruth from Perth.
And thank you to my parents, Raymond, Chiara, and
thank you to my parents, Barry and Marion. Thank you. Sails are made up of different pieces of cloth stitched together. The shape of these pieces, or panels, are designed in such a way as to give the sail a 3D shape when they're combined. There are two main types of panel construction, which sails are made up from. Either cross-cut or tri-radial. So cross-cut is when a series of panels are stitched together approximately parallel with the foot of the sail. These tend to be made from heavier cloth, such as Dacron, which prevents them from stretching. This construction is more economical, as there's less time that goes into the design and production of them. Tri-radial sails are made from panels which radiate out from the three corners of the sail, from the clew, the tack and the head, and they are almost triangular in shape. Most of the loads on a sail radiate out from these three corners, so this construction allows the sail to cope with the loads of the sail better and enables it to maintain its shape better. Due to the complexity of the tri-radial sails, these are usually made from laminate or membrane cloth. Dacron is an example of sailcloth that is woven, whereas laminate is, as the name suggests, it's made from different layers of material laminated together. Laminate sailcloth is more popular for racing sails, as it's lighter weight and maintains the shape better. Our mainsail and 6 of the jibs are made from laminate cloth for this reason. Whereas our delivery main and our staysail are made from Dacron, as this material usually lasts longer and so it's better for enduring heavy weather. The tri-radial construction gives you more control over the design, doesn't it? The tri-radial design is also more complicated, so it also becomes more expensive.
we remove from the base triangle.
To reduce the size of the sail, we had to decide whether we'd cut this metre off the top or the bottom.
We have to do all we change the we redo it to the 2
But then you will drop the animal fully 300, doesn't it?
It's more complicated to cut the tri-radial sail because, as we explained, they're designed to distribute the force out to the 3 corners. If you cut them, the panels will no longer be triangular and they'll no longer meet in a point. If we cut the base, we'll be cutting 2 corners, so 2 sets of triangles.
We can remove that. That's alright. And then we cut the foot.
but we lose it all.
Yeah, but we can't help it no other way.
So we decided to cut the top instead.
If I have to use it with a tough flap, I put couple square head, 1 button on the top,
One way to strengthen the sail once it's been cut is to make a square head with a batten to reinforce it. However, having a batten there will make it more difficult to tack as the batten can get stuck on the mast. Alan pointed out that we already have batten pockets and suggested that we make a diagonal cut from the head of the sail to the first of these pockets. This cut will be less dramatic and less stress for the sail. It also means we'll keep the head of the sail as a triangle, which will be less problematic for tacking.
Yes, that one, but this one is good.
Why don't you just go like this? Take the tape.
Yeah.
Take it out to the edge of the batten. Why don't you just go like that?
Oh, that's amazing. Done. Easy, let's job.
Yeah.
Done. E also è more safety che the leash don't go to vibrate. Okay, there is a 2 button. There is plenty, but we use the button. Finish. It's also more easy to oyster and fold.
Hello?
If we are in 2, it's not a big sail. It's not a super big.
It's not a big sail.
Daddy
Daddy thinks it's not very big.
Allora, yeah,
Like 1, 2, 3.
yeah.
After that, drop it.
What's wrong?
I use it. It's
What's
okay.
wrong? Come here. This is just the beginning of our sail planning. We'll be talking more about sail design and construction in future videos, as well as things like how this third stay will affect the balance of the boat. As usual, click subscribe and hit the bell not to miss out on the future videos. And if you'd like to hear more from us, join our Patreon community. The link's in the description. Thanks for watching. Woohoo! Woohoo! Beautiful. Marshall Sails.
Our partner.
Sails, boat canopies, awning, shade structures, marine upholstery. What more could you want?
Solo, we have to say thank you to our Patreon, eh? Relax. Dai, guarda qua. Qua. Guarda. Watch here.
Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it? Tri-radial sails. You think so?